What's going on, guys? Oh, pardon me. I'm a little bit clogged up. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. What's up, D. Callahan? Surf. John B. What's up, Frank? Oh. This is rare. Yeah, so pardon my voice, guys. Just my sinuses are pretty bad. Okay, Bola. What's up, Sugar Spa? What's up, John? Interesting day. Already kind of an interesting start to the week. By the way, John, welcome to, looks like it's the first time you can make the stream, so welcome. Interesting start to the week here with this non-event, and I guess you could even now say fake event, for ETH being labeled a security. I want to kind of go over what we talked about last night, dipping to one of these horizontal levels, right? And I was looking at these two levels, that Ethereum would move down to. And then as that uncertainty waned, right, these are the two levels we were looking at. As that uncertainty waned, I expected a bounce. And it's, for really every single event, whether it's a positive event, a negative event, really almost in every single market, that's what's so nice about these things is they're going to react the same because it's the same. It's the same human emotions, and it's the same ways that people are going to try to manage risk. So going into kind of an uncertain event where there's an outcome that isn't really controlled or can't be controlled, or controlled by kind of a one party, and it would affect everyone else. That uncertainty is going to lead to some risk off for that asset. So typically some selling. And then usually as that uncertainty clears, in this case, there really wasn't even a meeting, we see it bounce back. So I want to touch on that. That's kind of what I wanted to start with since it's everyone's talking about that today. But we'll look at Bitcoin as well, coming all the way down to the bottom of that support range where we're at now and kind of hanging right in the middle of it. And then a few other alts that I wanted to look at. The two that I've been tracking the most, or at least tried to track the most, but putting in alt updates, are both playing out absolutely perfect. So Enigma coming all the way down to the bottom of that support or entry zone. Icon is maybe even a little bit cleaner in the sense that it came all the way down to the bottom of our entry zone, lined up right where I wanted it to with that trend line, and now we're starting to see the bounce. So the two that pardon me, guys, I'm kind of gross right now with my nose running. So want to go over those two as well. And then someone wanted me to look at Loom yesterday, which I did not think it would take off. It's always interesting when things do. But I know we looked at two different levels. It was an alt discussion, 4,700, and then we looked at kind of this fib level at 5,400. So hope you're able to get in because that was that looks like it's the biggest pop of the morning. So it's nice when that works out. Anyways, let's jump right into it with Bitcoin. And then, guys, if you could excuse me real quick, I am going to go grab a napkin just to blow my nose. So one quick second, quick pause in your programming. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so jumping into where Bitcoin is and jumping into, or kind of recapping where we were yesterday when we were looking at this. Expecting Bitcoin to come kind of to the bottom of this fib support range, right? It doesn't change my opinion at all that we come kind of to the bottom of it. I actually expected it. And we kind of did a study on this level in the past. When it acts as resistance, you usually have the wicks touching the top fib line. When it acts as support, usually we have some wicks getting down to the bottom. So nothing different here. We also kind of looked at, and I thought this would happen a little bit, it's impossible to know to what extent, but the ETH uncertainty, or kind of any uncertainty in the market, possibly having an effect as well on Bitcoin. But I think that's probably marginal. I think it's pretty small. Either way, this is fine. I think this is still an attractive level. If I'm looking very simply at paths of least resistance and trying to keep it as simple as possible, right? Our momentum is still up. We're sitting in a support zone. Just looking at this objectively and trying to without bias, this is still fine for me. So still bullish sign. I don't think even a retest, if it does move down, right? If we do clear this 9,200, I'd be looking at 8,400 as support, or somewhere up in the 8,800 range, 9K. But while we're here, I'm not too worried about that still. I'm in a trade. I'm long Bitcoin. If anything, if we do move lower than this, I'm going to look to add. My liquidation is really low. So I want to stay long Bitcoin. I still want to stay net long. My view does not change there, right? Just analyzing the trend, we're still moving up. This dip is fine. My take. Not financial advice. Moving on to, I touched on this at the very beginning, the ETH, Bitcoin kind of fake news. It looks like, so there's rumors now that it still could be kind of a private meeting, and that's why the SEC secretary or whoever that wasn't going to comment on it. It might be just like a closed door hearing. Either way, guys, I still think it was going to be a non-event, right? And at the same, they wouldn't decide something on one day, right? It's more of a hearing or kind of a talk. So it looks like ETH is bouncing back, and if ETH is bouncing back, then, well, that pretty much means everything else is going to bounce back, and probably a little bit harder maybe even than ETH. So the two coins that I wanted to look at leading into kind of the two most recent alt trade ideas before Aura were Icon and ENG, and I really wanted to focus on these. ENG kind of providing this nice horizontal level that I wanted bids to dip all the way down to. I think they have kind of a nice... I think they have a really nice kind of narrative lined up going into May, and I don't know what their announcement's going to be at consensus. I imagine it's going to be different than the announcements they've been coming out with, and just based on the caliber of stuff they've been coming out with, it should be pretty big. So I think this is a nice time, able to get an entry on ENG at kind of a discount, 20% off where it was, just 5 days ago. So I like that it's dipped all the way down. I got to add to that position a little bit, even though I was still holding from way back in here. So happy to add to that trade. I think it's cheap. I think it's a very, very unique way to play the privacy sector. Pardon me. So I like ENG there. Technically, it's just one of those things, kind of using ETH on your advantage, using previous horizontal resistance or supports, guys. I never try to make this too complex. And I think you can see, honestly, using simple kind of levels and just simple analysis might actually be more helpful. All right, so it's nice to get that to dip all the way down to the horizontal support. Once again, also stacking the bids. Icon, already showed this one. It's a little bit cleaner in the sense that it lined up. There's a nice confluence with this trend line, right? This is from the low in March, moving up, and then it also kind of lined up just a previous horizontal level. Right, we're already getting a pretty nice bounce. I think this one has probably a little bit nicer catalyst lined up on the 11th. They kind of have their plug and play ICO platform coming out, which should be nice. That's a little bit worrisome in the sense that it could be a sell the news event. But I think there was a news story that came out. Let me see if I can find it in the newsroom about Korea being more open, more constructive, definitely in terms of, let's see here. More constructive in terms of, ICO regulations, in terms of cryptocurrency exchanges, a lot of different things. There's a lot of volume that comes out of Korea. Usually they lead the entire globe. So that's pretty massive for a project that's focused in that area and based in that area. So I like Icon maybe a little bit more. Both those plays, though, working out really nice. What's up, K-Mall? And guys, that's just simple. You know what I mean? This actually could have failed, and I still would have liked these setups a lot. Failed as in coming through the support or coming through the entry zone. But this is such a repeatable method. You don't have to look at just the coins I look at. Line up another coin with this. I'm sure you could have done it with Kyber as well, right? And pick some nice horizontal levels and kind of done the exact same thing with a few different coins. right? So more of a macro timing and then going into the individual coins and doing it that way. Let me see. Okay, so it was Gene Chris yesterday at around, 4 p.m., asking about moving into Loom around 4,700. Exact same method here, guys, this icon Enigma. So all I want to do was look at 5,400 or 4,700, and this is just based off previous horizontal support over here. So kind of picking that out with your eyes, and then also it's the very bottom of the descending wedge or falling wedge, and it's also a nice fib support level. So we got a nice bounce. I did not expect anything like that, right? I can never kind of anticipate when that's going to happen, or I would have added to the position. But Gene Chris, I hope you got into that one. That's always nice when we kind of look at requests and get them that right. Do you guys have any other coins? I saw a bunch of, what's up, George? Where I saw a bunch of coins being fired around alt discussion. Is there anything you guys want to look at? I really had only been tracking ETH this morning and kind of what was going on there. I haven't dug into too many coins early this morning. BNB. Yeah, we could definitely take a look at BNB. BNB is kind of continuing to fall. Looks like if I'm picking out a horizontal level, right? EBST, I've never heard of that. If we're looking at a horizontal level right here, yeah, ran down a little bit. All right, we could definitely take a look at that. Honestly, for those, I'll hit Ren real quick. Ren, he had a question. Ren has been hit hard, still in play. Honestly, for these, kind of just like I play all these new coins that are barely on any exchanges, right? I'm not too worried about their technical levels. If things fall off, then I'm probably going to move more in. I haven't moved more into Ren. But these are plays that I imagine will take a month or 2 months or even 3 months to develop. The real play with newer coins or smaller unknown coins is that they get added to a larger exchange, right? So that's where they get their pop in price. I don't ever expect them to do too well until they can get some more liquidity or get added to an exchange, right? So yeah, Ren is still in play. I'm still holding. Haven't even thought about it. BNB. So if I'm looking at BNB, this reminds me a lot of this reminds me a lot of ZRX and EOS, kind of both at the all-time high. Just fell off this trend line, right? It's now resting kind of on a nice horizontal support, but this is kind of shaky in my opinion, right? I would want things to come down quite a bit. Yeah, this is pretty shaky in my opinion. Honestly, I'd be aiming for something like 90,000 sats, kind of as aggressive as that sounds, or even like down at 110,000 sats. I would kind of want another 10% off, right? At least looking for something a little bit more ideal down in here, down in this area. This just feels shaky. It just dropped out of this trendline support. I want it to at least be kind of 20 or 30% off its all-time high, right? 25 right now from the very tip, but I think this could keep falling. I think this is a pretty weak setup for me to play, personally. Unless you, and guys, if you have any questions, give some background too for it. So like if you're in a coin, you want me to take a look, let me know if you want to look at exits or entries or something like that. It kind of gives me an angle to work with. Let's go back to Bitcoin while we wait. Interesting. So EBST is on Bittrex fork. Never heard of that. Ooh. Yeah, it's pretty small. It's interesting. It's on Trex. Never heard of it. Really impressive volume. 4 million for a 14 million cap coin. Wow, it's flying today. Yeah, I'll take a look. It's kind of an interesting play. eBoost. Oh wow. Yeah, that's taken off. So there's a fork. I'm just unfamiliar. WG, okay. WG wants some targets. If I was to be looking at targets or taking some profits, so right, I'm just going to base it off previous resistance levels that price has faced selling pressure and move back down, right? So if I'm going to start picking zones, basing that off here, right? So I think anywhere kind of in the 10.9, I think this is the next level as we're already passing through this horizontal level. So up in 10.9, right, or 10.700 sats, I expect some selling pressure, as well as, you know, just basing it off of kind of these highs as well, up at 13, right? So almost a 2x still. You know, I don't know anything about this coin. WG, I would have to kind of get up to speed with what's going on here. You said it was a fork? I've never heard of it, so I don't know what's driving price like that, but this is, that's a pretty ridiculous run. I mean, up in a month, almost up 5 or 6x. I've never seen this coin on Bittrex. Really interesting play here, kind of. So WG, that's where I'd be looking. I just don't have too much insight, right? Because I don't know what's driving it, but I'd be looking in the 10.7 range would kind of be the first level I'd be wanting to take profits. So stacking them up maybe at 10.3 up to about 10.7 is how I would do it. And then I would also kind of set some really high asks up around the 14.15, looking for a 2x still from here, right? Just based off this previous peak. But I don't know enough about it to have too much insight there. Nice play if you caught that, WG. It's a really nice trade. We're at John O's list still looking into. Yeah, list went through kind of the first entry zone, or what I was really looking at, right? But it just came down for a deeper retest, which it also looks like it might not want to play here. So it's still kind of sitting on the retest line, right? If it's retesting this support, I don't think, you know, I don't like this play too much. I like the Icon Enigma a lot more. Right? I think it's still a nice protocol, a nice platform that you could be kind of exposed to, invested in. I don't think it was definitely not the cleanest setup. So I don't like Lisk that much. Right, sitting down 5 or 6%. I think it's still in play. I think it's a much weaker setup. All right, I like the Icon Enigma plays a little bit more. So still in play, John. You know, I kind of talked about a predetermined exit down here, but I think I wouldn't be entering right now personally. I don't think Lisk is gonna be a big one. Yeah, of course. ETP USD. Never looked at ETP, especially not USD. So really every USD chart is pretty much going to follow Bitcoin's chart, Sugar Spot. That's just kind of my view on how things work. Right? One's going to outpace the other. I would probably be looking at the Bitcoin chart. I think it's attractive. I just don't know anything about this coin. I always kind of am a little bit hesitant to make any call or look at too many levels if I don't know anything about it. So I can definitely take a look at some, but some that I just have absolutely zero knowledge on. I don't want to get too much into. Jorge, some of us commented a bit about Pearl in the chat. No, I don't know anything about it. I don't spend too much time, guys, looking at some really small caps, right? Because honestly, you know, everyone else's ability to pick those is going to be just as good as mine, right? I'm definitely more of kind of a TA specialist, and then, you know, obviously spend a lot of time and know about as many coins as I can, but I'm not going to know about all of them. Pearl is one of those that I'm unfamiliar with. Don't know too much about it, but it is nice that small cap channel is churning out some nice picks, some nice new coins for us. But yeah, guys, that's all I really have for this morning. I know the early morning streams on Monday, it's kind of hard for me to build up a schedule that I have a full 30 minutes to talk about. But Bitcoin and ETH kind of both acting as expected. Bitcoin dropping to the bottom of that support, which I wanted to see. I know it gave you guys some nice longs. I'm going to wait to add any long exposure personally, right? If we can drop below, hopefully looking at like something like 8.4, I think would be really attractive. But ETH and alts, were kind of the much more interesting thing to track today. I like that we were able to kind of play that FUD, or at least get this right going into the weekend. Someone had a really good post, I think it was Dean, about ETH and most other alts kind of being at resistance at the end of last week and saying he wishes he would have taken more profit. Dean, we're never going to be able to get it all the way right. I honestly wish I would have taken more profit. But I think, what I hope that allowed you to do, even if you didn't take profit, was not move into other coins right at resistance. Right. So at least, we didn't buy anything. I think my last trade idea was like Thursday. So going into the weekend, at least we weren't like moving into every coin as it's dropping, and we could set some of our bids like Icon and Enigma. That was kind of the goal. So if you weren't able to take profits going into it, you were able to kind of let the bids or let price action fall to your bids. Right. So we're never going to get everything right. I don't want anyone ever to be too hard on themselves. Right, guys, no one's ever going to get anything right. I'm never going to get everything right. But at least if you can keep it as simple as possible, we're at resistance going into the weekend. There's probably going to be FUD. Pick some horizontal levels, Icon, Enigma, let price action fall into your bids. At least not be buying at resistances, right? Let things fall, buy at supports. Maybe you took some profits. We're never going to get it all the way right, but it's nice to kind of get the macro picture right. And I think in the long term, and I think throughout the week, that does really well. Sugar Spot, when are you planning to solve that Rubik's Cube? I haven't. I know up until about step 12, and then I need to relearn like step 12 through like 16. So I'm pretty quick with 1 through 12, but 12 to 15, I need to restudy. K-Mall said it's there to add color. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'll be in here obviously the rest of the day. I'm going to get some breakfast in. I had one phone call this morning that went a little bit long, so sorry for the late start, but we're kicking off the week right. And I'm excited to kind of seize the week, hopefully keep getting the macro right, take some profits on some coins that are moving. I might even take some more profits on Loom if we can get back to all-time high. And then excited for IDEX to get back up and see these plays develop. So I'm signing off, guys. I'll be in the Discord the rest of the day. Cheers. Hope everyone's having a good Monday. It's going to be a good week.